I see it's 3:30, so I will call this regular meeting of Town of Gibsons Council to order, May 6th, 2025. And we're honored to be gathered here on the traditional territories of the Skokomish Nation. First, we need to approve the agenda, moved by Councillor Kroll, seconded by Councillor DeAndrade. Is there any discussion of the agenda? All those in favor? The motion carries. Could we just rely on the air conditioning here and not have the door open? Because that's a little distracting for me. Thanks. Should I turn this up? I don't know how to really use it very well. But I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was okay. So we need to adopt minutes of April 22nd, 2025. Moved by Councillor Kroll, seconded by Councillor DeAndrade. Any discussion? All those in favor? The motion carries to adopt those minutes. And now we have bylaws. The first one simply an adoption of a zoning amendment bylaw for a cannabis store at 1095 Sunshine Coast Highway, which we already passed 3 readings for. So I think this is straightforward. Moved by Councillor DeAndrade, seconded by Councillor Kroll. Any discussion? All those in favor? The motion carries. And now on to our financial plan bylaw. And everything else, I think, is finance related. So I'm going to go to our Director of Finance to introduce this.
Thank you, Mayor White. Yep, there's an introductory report here for the financial plan. The report lays out that there have been a number of activities, meetings, events that are fulfill the requirement of a public process in the preparation of a 5-year plan. So that is there. I'd say the highlight was the community dialogue back on January 7th, when we had 50 members of the public join staff and council for mini presentations and lots of questions and some pretty good discussion. The report goes on page 2 of 3 to provide some examples on the combined decisions made to date. So combined garbage and organics up $23 or 9% for 25, sewer utility for a typical user and residents up $63 or 10%, and similarly water $54 or 10%. And then based on the Committee of the Whole's recent recommendation of April 14th for a typical 964,000 single-family residents in Gibsons, the general municipal tax increase of 8% or $112 in total. So for all of those things and all the parcel taxes and everything else are all combined in there, that would be a $252 increase for that house in 25, albeit with a combination of fairly high percentage increases for all the individual items. So hopefully that's manageable for the community at large. The remainder of the report just leads to the next steps, the readings of the financial plan bylaw, its adoption and its delivery to the province on May 15th. Mayor White, I could go through elements of the bylaw if you wish, but I'd like a little direction before I launched into that.
I think councillors may have questions, so I mean, it might work to kind of direct the proceedings through that. If there are questions yet, Councillor Lumley.
Thank you, through the mayor. So it's presented a little bit differently. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But one of my questions was, I mean, the one chart on the one report where it breaks it out, regional district and so on and so forth. I know we're not there yet, but I was looking at it and I was, things that I focus on, I guess, basically.
Sorry, Councillor Lumley, do we know what page that is, just so everybody?
Well,
can
what
follow
page
along?
I'm on now, I think, is 25.
Okay.
Might be different. I'm on the computer. But, so what I was looking at was, I didn't see anywhere in the report, and I might have missed it, the business multiplier. I was like, kind of like since there were, like, even my beginning, like 10 years ago, was always, like, the Gibsons business multiplier was super high compared to other communities around here. And I know it was the focus to bring that down, to come in to a more reasonable amount compared to like the regional district and communities that were adjacent to us. I've missed it. I know there is a breakdown of it would appear that the taxes for businesses general are going to decrease this year. Does that mean through our budget process that the business tax multiplier has decreased as well? Have we brought that down? I just haven't seen a specific number.
Yeah, I think there might be other questions like this too, because we're accustomed to a different kind of presentation. So we're used to seeing different numbers and different measures and things. So that's a good first question on that is, where is the business multiplier? What is it and how are we handling it this year?
That's actually part of your tax rates bylaw. And right now we're on the financial plan bylaw. So we'll get there. But in answer to the question though, pertaining to the sharing, there is something in the financial plan bylaw that addresses or at least points out that in this particular municipality, most of the taxes are being paid between residences and business. And the actual ratio right now is pretty good here compared to the rest of the province, and it is slowly but surely tracking downwards, which is great. When we get to the tax plan bylaw, I'll actually, we don't even have to wait to get there. Bear with me.
Yeah, sorry for skipping ahead there, but
No,
that was my
it's absolutely fine.
one of my
It's-
only questions.
It is a key question. Where is that? It's page 11 of this financial plan bylaw number 1331. There is a table there, and it shows that the residential properties represent 87% of the whole roll, and they're paying 71% or handling 71% of the tax burden. And business is 13% of the total value roll, and it's bearing 27% of the tax burden. I've seen similar value shares on the left and business sharing almost 50% of the cost. So that's what I meant by for BC, rural municipalities of this size, it's actually in pretty good shape, and it is great that it's going down slowly. Does that help, Councillor Lumley?
Through the mayor, no. I guess my specific, again, and you're gonna have to bear with me, but like I love the explanation, but there's like a specific rate that businesses will, it's like a multiplier. Like I was just curious as to like what that number is this year. Like if I look.
It's 2.5176
Okay, thank you. Yeah. That's,
for 2025, yeah.
yeah, awesome. Thank you very much. That answers my question.
So that's not actually in the report, is it? The 2.5176 or?
No, it is not listed anywhere in the reports.
Okay, so we've got it now. Councillor D'Andrade.
Thank you, Mayor. It's just a clarification on this topic. My understanding is in previous years, council has to vote on this differential, right? So if, I'm assuming if there has not been a vote, it remains the same, no?
Council doesn't have to vote on multiples at all. However, it does have to vote on the tax rate set. And that's, the multiple that comes out of it is kind of an item at the end of the process. However, the way things have been prepared now was, as I understood it, staff were sent away to basically work with 8% and find its budget savings to balance the budget elsewhere, and to basically leave the sharing and the methodology behind who's sharing the burden untouched. Just keep on doing the same as the town was doing in 2024, which is why on the business side we've had that slow reduction, because we're on that trend. It's just going to keep going down on the business side until council decides to stop that.
Councillor Thompson, did I see your hand first? It's kind of okay, but Councillor Lumley.
Just to follow up, and I really appreciate that because maybe 3 years ago, and I don't, the mayor is probably aware of this, is that the multiplier went up, and I voted against the budget because, you know, the concern is that if like shifting the tax burden to businesses, which clearly we're not doing, and I appreciate that, thank you very much, is that even in today's day, like, I don't know if it could be really harmful for small businesses to get it flows right through to the business, so you're just taking it right out of their own pockets, like the operators. And so I appreciate that, the direction that council gave and the results that came out of it. Thank you very much.
And I think you voted against it. I wasn't here, but I think you voted against it, and then the rest of council decided to do the budget over again. Yeah, so that was kind of it was a situation best avoided. So I'm glad we're avoiding that this time. So it didn't end up going up at the end of the day, but it was, the budget had to be done over again because it wasn't. It's good that it's coming explicitly to us this time, and we're considering it. Did you have a comment on that, Director?
And yes, Mayor White, I also wanted to add to the most recent Committee of the Whole meeting and being sent away with instructions. If I'd gone away and tried to do that and the results coming out of it were funny or unusual, it would have been called out in the introductory reports to both these bylaws, but really that turned out to be really straightforward. Nothing, no numbers leapt off the page as to why, you know, how is it that we're getting that kind of result.
Okay, so that's a good segue to how since that meeting and what you did do out of that direction, what straightforward work was done in order to get us to that 8%? Because I'm not even sure where we were at with the last budget. I mean, I know it said a maximum of 10%, but I gather it probably some work had to be done between then and now to sharpen some pencils. So curious, just an overview of what that was. Yeah.
Yes, Mayor White, on the bottom of page 2 and 3 of the introductory staff report, I just read quickly here. In combination with the 8% tax increase and the $410,000 in additional revenues that is to raise, so 8%, $410,000, staff were directed by council to identify 2025 cost deferments or savings of $242,000 to balance the budget. So that's what needed to be done. At the top of the next page of the report, so staff has completed the 2025 cost reduction objective of $242,000 as follows. So 108,000 is a permanent cost reduction, but there was no miracle there. It was clarifying and some final corrections to the new labor table. When we got enough staff members together, we were able to assure ourselves that 2 part-time casual-oriented positions did not need to be in the labor table the way they were presented. Council had approved something different in the past, so we got that straight. And then we have 1 vacant engineering position to be refilled in 2026, but for the balance of the year, that's 54,000 that won't be spent. And we have, again, a temporary 2025, a 50,000 estimate from the labor table as a result of public works roles being updated and modified, but just flagging that money will be demanded back in the beginning of 26. And then a number of departments that at various points use consulting services not connected with projects, basically all provided 5 to 10,000. So there was a 30,000 reduction in consulting service budget line items. And that got us to 242.
Thank you. Other questions from council? I guess one final one I'll ask on this part is, do we have a summary anywhere in the reports or from yourself about generally, like, what's the breakdown of the 8%? I mean, some of it is we know collective agreement. Some of it is operating costs. Again, it's usually kind of when we do this, it's kind of at the forefront of what we used to be able to kind of call any percentage increase as our capital budget, which we're not doing this year because there are no extra capital costs. And then we could kind of list of exactly what the increase was paying for. So I just want to make sure we highlight that as well, because that's something the public's interested in.
Yes, Mayor White, on page 11 of bylaw 1331, there's an item number 4, general municipal revenues required. And I'll just, if I may, read through it quickly because it's the answer to the question. So in 2025, the general municipal tax revenue requirement was budgeted for a total of $4,744,620, resulting in an overall general municipal tax increase of 8%. The net tax increase components include 4 items. 3.3% is connected to maintain, actually they're all of these items are to maintain municipal services, the ones that exist at the current levels. 3.3% is connected to the new collective agreement changes. 1.7% is connected with the repositioning of the compensation grid. 0.9% is connected with a new part-time clerk position. And 2.1% is connected with non-labor cost changes. And that's our breakdown of what's in that 8.
Okay, great. Thank you for highlighting that. Yeah, I think that's important to help us communicate. Any other questions or comments by council? Are we ready to look at the recommendation then? And that would be, this first recommendation is on the financial plan bylaw. Actually, I mean, are really all these packaged together? Do we have any more reports? I mean, we've talked about all the reports. Are we going to speak?
For the financial plan bylaw, yes.
Okay, so we'll do them one at a time then, and you may want to speak to the others later. Okay, so financial plan bylaw, number 1331, 2025. And that it be given first, second, and third reading is the recommendation. Moved by Councillor DeAndrade, seconded by Councillor Kroll. Any discussion, any further discussion on this? All those in favor? The motion carries. Sorry, I may have been slow on that. All those in favor? Okay, the motion carries. Yeah, I think I just didn't, people were too quick voting. I didn't even see you. So now moving on to item 4.3. which is the 2025 tax rates bylaw. We already had a question on that. I don't know if there's any more to address on that, Director of Finance, so I'll go to you.
Welcome any questions. There wasn't anything that I specifically had to bring to your attention.
Okay, we already had a question on this as well, so I don't know if there are any more, Council. Are we ready to pass this first, second, and third reading of the tax rates bylaw? Moved by Councillor Kroll, seconded by Councillor Lumley. Discussion. All those in favor? The motion carries. Now to the water parcel tax bylaw. Any questions or anything to address on this specifically?
No.
Councillor Lumley. Move first, second, and third reading. Seconded by Councillor Kroll. Any discussion? All those in favor? The motion carries. And on to the sewer tax bylaw. Recommendation here is also first, second, and third reading. Moved by Councillor Kroll, seconded by Councillor DeAndrade. All those in favor? The motion carries. And then finally, the community recreation facilities parcel tax bylaw. It's on 39 and 40 for any explanation of what that is, which I assume council's read. So does anyone have any questions on this? Ready to move it then? Councillor Kroll, seconded by Councillor DeAndrade. All those in favor? And that motion carries. The committee of the whole reports is just the minutes, which we don't need to adopt or anything. That's there for information. And before we have I'll just mention our next meeting, which is May 13th, 2025 at 12 p.m., which is a special meeting to do the adoption of these bylaws, make sure they get done by the deadline. And then there's a regular meeting of council, which will be June 3rd, 2025. I think there might be another special meeting somewhere in there to deal with Skyline. Yeah, the award, the contract award. I think that's the 20th we're looking at. I'll just go to Director of Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mayor White. I think we were aiming for the 27th of May.
27th, okay, yeah. And finally, no one's Tracy, could you come up to the mic to just do an introduction? That's why you're here too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so as you guys all know, Andrew's been with us for several years now. Yeah. And I'd like to introduce Atala as our new AV support person. Atala goes to Elphinstone and is in grade 11. And she is with the the TV production program since grade 9 and is very interested in the film industry and prides herself in being a volunteer in the community with clubs such as the Leadership, Interact Club, Elfie Rangers, and the TV Production Club. So she's shadowing Andrew until she gets her legs, and we're happy to have her, and thank Andrew and Atala for joining us.
Great, thank you. Nice to meet you, Atala, and thank you, Andrew. Andrew, are you still going to be with us for a few more meetings, or?
Unfortunately.
Hey, you're supposed to be encouraging the new person here. That's your job now. Okay. So we're pleased that we've still got you for the next few meetings, and welcome, Atala. Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
You guys take your summer break.
Okay, so we won't say goodbye to you quite yet, but we'll unfortunately, yeah. Councillor DeAndrade.
Well, I just want to, thanks, obviously, Andrew, but I want to recall at the very beginning when the meetings start being broadcast, how many situations we had here. So that was great. Since your appearance, it really addressed a lot of the pains and aches. So yeah, it has been, I think, a very smooth transition. So on behalf of council, I just want to recognize that. Thank you.
It's now some smooth sailing to pass the till over, yeah. Are we ready to adjourn? Moved by Counselor Lumley, seconded by Counselor Kroll. All those in favor? The meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everybody.